so comfortable on it. I'd say Shopify Rebellion
I would
is
say
more
they look better.
comfortable. They've definitely looked better because you have such an aggressive lineup behind Canadian. It's a map where your IGL can...
Flipped that on its head. DarkZero were the team that were always a little bit more lethargic, but they've also shown that they can be sick players, or maybe they're just more familiar and more comfortable with their roles. Operator bans are coming in, our first wave before bans.
Is in this position. That does seem to be where Canadian is at, hoping to stall out this Blackbeard once he sees it, but instead he's just the opening death.
Not exactly what you want from Canadian. He sits towards the bottom of the standings, the lowest rated player on at this point. But DZ, knowing this team so well, they're making their presence felt. And up Spoit will come. Rexon down but not out as Spoit gets the very first kill for Shopify Rebellion. Ambi and Pambazoo still with pulses on the, or Ambi and Spoit rather, still with pulses on their side of things as Pambazoo opens up the wall. Rexon bleeding out. He'll need to be retrieved at some point. Ambi down for the count. It's all on the shoulders of Spoit. He finds kill number 2. The newest player to Shopify Rebellion will have to clutch out. Adrenal Surge still in pocket for Citizen. It'll be available in just a moment. Rexon seems unretrievable as he's being watched by what appears to be the silhouette of Pambazoo, but hard to tell. There's utility on the side of Shopify Rebellion, and they're going to try to gain valuable intel as Spoit sees where one of the players happens to be. 2 more remain. Rexon will finally bite the dust. And now it's Spoit to try.
You find the head, it's a tough shot, but Spoit's known to hit those. Gonna face the other direction with that nade. He's gonna be forced out of the position, but still somehow alive. Ambi covering his teammate. Good work from the entry duo of Shopify.
Look at how well organized that was by DZ. They'd sent Pambazoo into the Isle of Danger. If it wasn't for Ambi, he's just fishing for something at this point. Excellent patience on the side of Shopify Rebellion right now. Surf hears the incoming approach of the Blackbeard. He has to walk away as out goes a nade, daring him in a duel. Spoit and Rexon on the board. Spirits was the last one to be found, and Surf will get the final pick. Carried for quite some time. A well-deserved criticism, I would argue, is their speed. They're quick to the punch this time, too, though Nafe is the one who unfortunately loses that brief bit of...
It's a filter. It's a great crossfire. Even with all the smoke, it's still really awkward to find an angle. Another one. Spoit and Ambi each a piece. They are not slowing down. And with a huge man advantage, they can just drop. Doesn't get out if you're Spoit, but everybody else happy to rotate back to the bomb site.
Pambazoo now just hunting for it as best as he can. 4 drones remain on the side of DZ, but who knows what intel they're collecting. Right now, some aerial support from Pambazoo, but he has some difficulty fighting his way through the beams. NJR is punished by Canadian, who gets on the board, and Ambi gets the final kill to give the lead.
So perfectly, not just with a Spoit and Ambi locking things down inside of Armory and weapon as well, thanks to that mirror window with the player.
Worried that DarkZero might have hit a snag at the moment. Oh, they can get better, Jesse. They've just lost Spirits.
Yeah, it keeps falling. Rexon racking them up now. Pamba falls next. They do answer with Surf, but still, Rexon's not leaving server. And wait for these guys to walk in.
A dangerous spot for DZ to be in. They lose Nafe, they lose NJR. It's all up to Citizen, who you saw was involved early on. Ambi rotates around and will find the second kill, and Shop Offense is laid out by Shopify Rebellion.
Canadian aggressive coming in with the Ellis shotgun, playing inside the Skybridge hallway. Oh, with the pistol, too. It's just a Blackbeard on the other side of it, so he doesn't be too worried. Pamba does, though, as Spoit now finds the angle, playing the same position he played last time. Good coverage still from his teammates. The Kivas are so strong, finally shut down by Citizen on the BB, but I think Spoit's done his damage. Happy to waste so much time and kills.
And around the corner now with the shotgun in hand, Canadian and Citizen will do battle. Down goes Surf, and all the advantage that was had by Shopify Rebellion has completely evaporated. Players and utility they have.
They're all focused on site. Nobody's going up above. It's going to be a 1v3 versus Ambi, which he loses.
Ambi's pounced upon. And now it's Spirits with Diffuser at the halfway point. Rexon and Canadian repositioning, but neither of them any the wiser. They let DZ walk in. They let them take the site. And now, unfortunately for Shopify Rebellion fans, it's going to be a mighty obstacle on the side of DZ for them to overcome this. Canadian now will attempt his best.
Where the big pressure was from Shopify last time, but now Ambi is lurking top floor with the Boss G. Spoit up there as well from Armory finds Pamba, which was a vert angle. Maybe recognizing that there are a lot of roamers, say, screw it, let's just go hit the site.
Pambazu down obviously is not ideal, but now DZ will look to avenge him, not Citizen though, as he maybe tries a bit too hard, and Shopify Rebellion hasn't lost a single point of HP. They're on the verge of a flawless round now, Jeff.
Surf is the only player that was on the bottom floor. Ambi has joined him now, but didn't seem to matter. Shopify from up above, we're finding really good value. Nate finally gets a pick, planting just in front of the doorway, in from lockers. Let's see if he can get this down. It looks like he will. Post-plant engage for DarkZero.
And there was a Goyo canister right across from him too, but there was no line of sight from Shopify Rebellion to punish him. So now they find themselves with their backs against the walls. 2 players on the side of DZ, keeping all 4 at Shopify at bay. And now Nafe and Spirits will simply look over top of it. Their Spirits take down Ambi. He's only good enough for a single kill. So now Nafe needs to go bigger than he has so far in this entire game. He too is afflicted with the same thing that Ambi had in the previous round.
Else is above. Let's just go rush site with everything that we've got. This time, though, I think the vert angles were a little bit better. Surf did get 1 for his troubles there, but end of the day, not quite enough. We'll get straight into the operator bans for the second half. Should be Kaid Bandit coming out on this side.
Now, almost like Black Ice, but in pink. It's quite nice. Ambi off to the races, and with the Supernova out, clears his way by dropping Pambazu. Canadian outdueled by Spirits on that Tachanka. Ambi's still in a really tight place, but he's got a rodeo of his own. Give him the cowboy hat, Jesse, because he's the one that's holding court at the moment. Shopify Rebellion now picking up a single point by getting to 6 rounds would be quite the way to start it. And they're looking at round number 5 right now. DarkZero needs 4 kills to get out of this alive, but right now they are suffering through far too much damage and taking way too long. Rexon with a single pick, and now it's NJR trying to jiggle peek, but he gets swept up from behind, and Shopify Rebellion.
What is this? Amonte's about to sprint through that window. You got to get out of here. There goes the Gersmalt mine, and he's out of town.
Down goes Spoit, opening pick for DarkZero, something they've not really succeeded at. Rebellion, and the big thing about Rebellion is that only got 1 logic bomb off. That really powerful nuisance op of Dokkaebi will not be able to do much more than that. Pambazu wanted to fight against Surf. He'll get it. Surf, though, walks away quite wounded from the engagement. There's a nitro cell on the board. There's 3 gas canisters on the board. Oh, my goodness. Surf could easily die to any of them. Ambi dies in the hands of Spirits, who now pushes up to the Monty of Canadian. That leaves Rexon and Surf as the escorts. DZ are in a great spot for the final 50 seconds.
Looking for the feet of Canadian. He's exposed himself, but it's through the hatch that Spirits fall.
A very crucial round for DarkZero. Numbers have evened. Shopify Rebellion will look to try to ride this one out. Canadian does not seem to be aware of Citizen's position. Citizen is an excellent player at finding those exploits, getting into positions that you don't expect him in. Now it's Rexon to try to do battle with him, dropped by NJR, and NJR will find the final 2.
To stop the plants.
E1D will freeze things in place as we just hit below the 1-minute mark. DZ striking first yet again. Nafe will get traded out shortly thereafter by a nade hucked by Surf, and now it's Spirits in a perilously dangerous position. Reduced to a single point of HP, but with the sidearm takes Rexon down first. Now it's NJR getting softened up after Spirits had been punished by Spoit. These 2 teams back and forth. Left hook, right hook. Surf taking down Citizen. NJR still very low on HP, but he's fighting away. Sidearm out, and Surf will learn that the hard way. 9 kills in the hands of Ambi. 9 kills in the hands of Spoit. A 10th now had for Ambi, but that's all she wrote. An opportunity for Spoit to break double digits. But first, the objective. Pambazu heading back to the bomb site. Spoit should have all the time in the world to pull this off. He does so, and he hears the door open. Pambazu versus Spoit in a 1v1, and the Pamba party will begin.
And then it was going to be the execute going on in the site. DarkZero won the gunfights up above. That was solely Pamba, who managed to control the top floor of that map. And then just barely, Shopify were able to edge things out.
It looks like 4-2 on both sides is most likely. Canadian has found safe harbor, by the way, and he's just going to truck right through that gas. It's thrown a bit belated by DarkZero. Nafe gets on the board, but Diffuser is down, and with 9 players still alive, now it's incumbent upon DZ to get to the case in the next 30 seconds. Down below, Shopify Rebellion prep the case. That was Ambi with the sidearm out on the Demo. Still one death mark in pocket for him. Meanwhile, everybody from DZ is still alive, and at the current point in time, they're not able to get to the bomb as quickly as they want, neither to the case. They look like they were going to hop on it for a second. Spoit has been downed amidst the fury, but we're about to run out of time. There's no way. They're past it. Surf sweeps through 2. There were 8 people still alive when the diffuser was at 8 seconds, and almost half of the lobby lived.
That's going to prompt the push as they come into the top floor. They have players up above to try to pressure, but really this is going to be all about can Canadian get the kit down.
He's going to do it again. There's no way they allow him to pull it off. No, DZ has figured this out, and NJR will pull out the Soulless. Down goes Canadian. Rexon had died moments before. Spoit, the first one on the board for Shopify Rebellion. That diffuser's been surrendered, and this is where it's going to get real challenging. They need to pick it up. Nave slaughtering Spoit. It's Ambi and Surf as the last 2 alive. It was a similar situation for DZ, but they had made a small change, and that's NJR was very well positioned to tackle that diffuse kit going down. Now the remaining players from Shopify Rebellion will
Boards and make some noise, have some chaos, while the brunt of the push from Shopify Rebellion comes into the basement. Last time, DZ won this round thanks to Pamba top floor being able to win those fights. He will still survive, but he won't have a Citizen alongside him, as Ambi did eventually find that angle he'd been holding the entire previous 90 seconds.
a devastating position for DZ to be in, but they will have an answer back as Rexon on that floor gets blown up by a C4 and numbers go back to even. Rexon has not made as much noise this game as he usually does, but everybody across the board is pitching in on the side of Shopify Rebellion. Now Pambazoo needs to be wary of where they will come from. He had a good idea on the one read. Now he'll have to tussle with Ambi before hiding. A Claymore had taken out Spirits as there was a bit of ambition on the side of DarkZero. Pambazoo's good for one, but Canadian reads him like a book. Advantage swings back in favor of Shopify Rebellion. One player on the side of SR will have to retrieve that case. The rest, if the drones are available, they have to figure out where NJR and Nafe are before they can pull off this execute.
That was the double Claymore in the drone hole that we saw getting placed up earlier, so that's a big brain play to be able to get the man advantage. Toxic Babes, one gets used, but then NJR goes down. It's Nafe in a 1v3 to save the game.
And it won't happen, Jesse. Shopify Rebellion will slaughter DZ on layer. Oh, to be a fly on the Shopify wall.
Little bit more about that victory. We talked to you yesterday, my friend. Congrats again on yet another win. Now officially the first place team in the NAL. You told us after your win against Cloud9 that this was exactly what was going to happen, that you would win against DarkZero. What is it about your team that is so consistently better than DarkZero?
The players.
Well, DarkZero is a good team, obviously. Like, this is the match everyone wanted towards the end of the season. But it really comes down to not only work ethic, but again, like player for player, like, whether it be me, Pamba, NJ and Ambi, like player to player, we are better in every margin. So like they could be good, but we're better players, and that's really all there is to it.
Great. I mean, well, you definitely showed it today, and obviously you don't got to worry about that tweet coming out. So that was, one thing not to worry about. And another thing I wanted to know if you guys were worried at all was obviously going to Lair. We know how Spirits likes to get on the shields and how he likes to be able to be creative on the stairs while the team is taking from the opposite direction, so to say. Was there ever any worries about those players specifically, or I'm assuming you guys had a game plan? Maybe talk to us about what that game plan was to shut down Spirit specifically on the front end, the rest of the team on the back end.
Well, the game plan going into it was just like this team is typically pretty slow unless they have like a coordinated rush. So wherever Spirits is going is where the push is going to be. So obviously, he's on a shield most of the time. Wherever the shield is, fight that and hold the zone. You don't give it up. You don't fall back. Just fight and contest the entire time. Pull it down to a 3v3 and then play the round out. But that's pretty much what we did. Like with DZ, it's you have ban on Deimos, like Deimos tracking, and then Spirits will sit with the shield, and then Pamba kind of runs in. The other two guys are on cuts or lurking. So that was our game plan going into it, was just contest them. They're really slow, so just play crosses and trade with the boys.
Well, Rexon, obviously, congratulations. You guys are sitting at first. I don't think it's locked in just yet. I think there is still a chance that you maybe can fall out of that, but still a really good performance. I really more so want to give you guys a compliment. I talked about going into this map. I was curious if you guys were going to ban out the Blitz, ban out the the Ying, especially off of Spirits like we were talking about, but you guys went for the Deimos. You went for the Buck to alleviate that vertical pressure. And one thing that I really appreciated, you were talking about, you know, knowing where Spirits was going to be with that shield, that spearhead. You guys were using the Echo very effectively to stop that spearhead of Spirits trying to make that threshold, trying to get into the site. Like, again, I just want to give you guys tons of props and credit to just alleviate that pressure and really just eliminating Spirits' X factor of just being able to get into the building and, again, being that spearhead.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, Spirits, like, again, like, Spirits is a good player, and he plays, like, the stuff that I don't like, you know, the annoying stuff, whether it be the Ying or the shields, like the Vigil Blasty. He's kind of the one that pioneered that. But pretty much, I think you give the guy the respect he deserves. You know, ban out some of his stuff and then let him play the shield, because you can't get rid of everything. So get rid of what makes you uncomfortable. I said, like, you know, the Bug, the Deimos, and then fight the shield head on. Because as you said, we have Echo, we have Elo, we have we have things utilized to kill this guy. And so, even though shields are really, really strong, if you have a crossfire or play numbers into them, that guy still can't shoot you. You know, he has to close the gap on you. And so that was pretty much.
I'm assuming the Deimos and the Buck was essentially to just have more comfortability in the site, so you don't have to worry about it, so you can have more of a hard focus on shutting that shield down, having the crossfire set up there.
Well, yeah, you know, if you have the verticality in play, and then like with the Deimos, they're just gonna go, like, you know, they'll have the cuts go below, rip the floor up. They're gonna get rid of these, like storage, for example. Like when we're fighting in storage against the Blitz, they have no Buck, they have no Deimos. Like they can't really do much there. So if we just, you know, stand our ground and fight them, play the trades, you know, you have to kill them with pre-fire or you have a trade, and that was the goal, and that's what we did, and it worked very well, as you saw, like whether it be the LMI and the Echo. But if they had, you know, the Deimos to Buck, for example, rip the floor up, then you lose like a power spot. Now they have the Z control, they can rip the wall open, they have ops, like then they start pinching you out. But if you can prevent that, which is, you know, what we did, then pretty successful.
I gotta say one thing. Round 7, when Ambi went up the hatch with Amaru, I don't know if you could see his POV or see the situation he was in. I'm sure he was screaming because he was just playing it so well. If you could just relay to Ambi that was such an impressive round from him to keep his composure and stay within that round and give you guys that pressure into the site to go for the plant. It was a masterclass performance from Ambi.
Yeah, I mean, again, like as I said, like, just with the players, right? Like that's, you know, he's a rookie, he came in here, well, about a year now, Yeah. He's gotten a lot of experience. He's really good. I mean, you know, he's a good kid, has big B's, and he's really keeping his composure, especially in spots like that, because some spots he's plays are that spot player, or he's just always like, you know, in the middle of everything. So I know he's going up a hatch, just flashbangs, the Chonka fire, you know, sense wall, like, and I see his silhouette just like spinning around, killing people.
That's literally what was going on. It was insane to watch. You should go back and see it from his point of view. We captured it, and it was honestly impressive.
That is amazing. Yeah, I botched a nade, so I'm really glad that was not caught.
Thank you so much, Rexon. Lots of insight as always. A big win, and yeah, now it's tomorrow and playoffs. #1 team. Congrats, man. It's been a hell of a stage, and we will see you down the line.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
All right, see you, Rexon. What a match.